So this is called Midsummer Day's Dream. The cold waves of the lake reflect softly in the snow as the sun peeks out behind several clouds, roasting the leaves on the trees to turn yellow-green under pressure of drought. The snow falls without too much hesitancy, and as it settles, it turns the white tundra into a puddle of milky resolution, creating streams and rivers that navigate the patchwork of the ground until finally coming to rest at the bottom of the cerulean body named Lake Chumbawanga Gunga Ganesha. It is hot as hell, and the water boils, sending steam in the air, creating the fog of an outdoor sauna, with entire landscapes melting in front of their eyes, and time coming to a standstill, each breath long thought out and constituting a lifetime's worth of memories and decidual attachment. Still, the snow continues to fall and pile high, covering them and their surroundings in frost-laden reminiscings, looking freshly decadent, while butterflies flock in the air, one by one, across the sky, reputedly beating their wings, gracefully, rapidly, imminently, with flagrance in their small, truculent hearts. The group of three stops and admires the tree on fire in the woods. They whisper to each other. "It's as if it doesn't even happen," says Hector Salvia, his wooden pipe held between his back molars in an attempt accentuated by 100 years beard that looks gristle. Colette Trevaux steps over, putting her hand into the fire, swooning closer with her breasts first, and then in her pelvic region, receding with warmth. "The magic is in the crackle of the bark," she says. They stand there with their bodies half submerged in the cool ice of the lake, treading water and blowing condensed vapor from their parched lips in awe of sensation. Hector and Colette, perched upon giant, infinitely ancient stones, stand fully clothed, while Thomas Venereal kneels in a more naked form than any man before him has ever dared to betray. His cock held in both his hands, ejaculating violet translucence upon the eddies beneath their feet. Mutters, tuttered, froth with his moth-tin tones of sublime. His masturbation raucousing paradoxical paroxysm before him, with him, within him, surround him, onto him, sowing him new seeds to pleat his estimations successfully birthed in ground. The timber cabin lie before them. Its walls made of repurposed driftwood, gathered between years, stupishly, shushingly, surreal. They three, the dream laborers of thine wooden shrine, its casting made in mud and painted red putty dyed, the colors of berries picked lakeside. Within the floor is pastorally divine. No inner walls, and thousands of open windows to look through. The beds made of hay display simplicitly a good lay. Dreams come withering true. The roof open, but not for the snow to get through, only at night for stars to shoot into. "We should go back," says Hector, now sitting upon the cradle of a dead tree hanging atop an earthen, bunker-shaped hill. The water turns the color of Thomas Venereal as he swims ashore, coming in human ether that bargained his first respirier. "Tither, tin town, tone time, till twee trump to the land! To's to everyone telling team to tuck off!" His feet take to the heath and burn of the snow in 2 steps that indignate his spine in thrustworthy patience, pelvis spanning 3 or 4 centimeters forward, then backwards, finding no barrier to rub up to in, erratic juxtaposition. His cock hanging half limp in a forgetful manner, of its now own dripping continuum, both violet and now turquoise, with molten bronziness against the plain canvas beneath him. Colette has half thoughts of tasting his expulsions as they swaddle the air from his penis, painting the ground magenta vibrances. She reaches her smoking hand down now along her pale breasts, touching the navel, navigating the soft mound of wool, down even further. The fire churns embers between her thighs, feeling all right. Her septum-pierced nose follows and lowers quietly until she stands now folded over unto herself, splicking, splacking, getting some golden scarlet tail between her teeth, chuttering, shuddering, slopping, swallowing, the elixir sopping, she eventually self-immolating, and from the ashes now rising with blushing plumage, now frolicking indefinitely. "We should go back," says Hector. He chops wood with a handmade axe of ready-made cast iron. Colette helps him to build a fire. Thomas Venereal washes his paintbrush and leaves it to dry on a stone in the sun. He finds his robe hanging from the clothesline between 2 branches. They drink freshly steamed tea. The vapors evaporate in front of them, cleansing the air, further surrounding them. Their eyes relax a little bit, and the vibrosity dulls. Everything becomes wet as the snow ceases to beat. "Now that we are here," says Hector, "let's take the time to thank the sun." Before them the sun spins its globes of fire, turning orange and red in the wind, disappearing beneath the tree line. The three of them stand by and watch in awe as the clouds turn pink and yellow in reflection of an evening onset of dark navy blues and blacks. Hector reaches for Colette, and the two of them embrace in the dark, laying down now into the earth with limbs entangled. As they lay there, Hector's long hair grows more brambled by the moment, extending out through the grasswork into nearby shrubs and up the roots of trees, becoming part of the surroundings as Colette straddles his waist, placing her hand on his chest and pushing down with her hips as he pushes himself up into her, growing deeper inside of her, with all of his branches extending outwards and upwards with solid motions of pelvic rapture. Their breathing gets heavy, pocketing the air with moan-like somnambulance, and the ground stirs with the kicks and swinging pendulums out, back, and forth, up and down, coming now all throughout the ground and making the trees ejaculate with thick sap, dripping down the bark and into the dirt as they roll around, completing each other's every ecstasy. Oh! Colette stands up onto her feet and begins to prod at the campfire with a long earthen rod, and the white cum from the fire spewing sparks upwards into the breeze, burning bright as they splatter across the black canvas of sky, creating a patchwork of jism-dotted puddles of small burning stars, brightening the darkness above with ecstatic white light glow. Hector comes and goes and begins to sleep, with his body now spread deep in the wilderness, to be trod on with soft steps and moments of dream. He disappears as his beard grows leaves and his penis becomes nothing more than an inanimate piece of stone beneath a hill that rises with each snore. Thomas Venereal, returning from the lake with 3 freshly caught trout, he throws them onto the fire and they steam and wriggle in the flames with delight, their skin turning dark and ashen as it peels back, revealing pink flesh. Tom's eyes light up as he picks each fish up and swallows it whole, his erect penis now projecting out the side leg of his underpants. With his stomach full, he travels into the cabin, which is painted in ethereal tones, with blues and greens and browns and magentas and sandstones swirling around the walls in motions that respond to one's eyes closed. Colette waits for him in his bed of hay. She is naked and covered in sweat. Her breasts breathe, and he finds himself drawn by the sweet smell fermenting from between her legs, but her cunt beckoning for his tongue to penetrate its walls. She spreads her legs, and he peers deep into the pink of her slit, into the dark purple cavern, using his fingers to dig deeper and spread her wider, fastening his tongue to the small bud pulsating in front of him, in cyclic motions, with the labia lapping back at him, filling his mouth with a sea, and her moaning with every wave of ecstasy. Her legs squeeze against his backside, pushing nose into cunt, opening wider, allowing head first and eventually shoulders to be pulled into her. Thomas continues head spinning, world twirling, eyes shut, shuffling around. He licks laps, laughs at her innards, and her orgasm grows louder, being unborn, unassuming. He feels her arms and legs growing shorter, and his head becoming smaller, cranium softer. His life rewinds in front of him. His breath goes backwards as undone before him, as he turns into a giant ejaculating ball of nothing. Colette doesn't have time to ask herself where all the lovers in her world have gone. Her body still pulsating with the rhythm of masturbation's manically sublime surreaction, curling into a ball of fire for the last ethers of embryotic light, shining with blushing erotic warmth, symbiotic, while the walls of the cabin around her spin in tie-dyed synchronistic manufacture. Her body takes small loops around the room in the hay as it levitates with unreal energy and lasting dogma for body savita ritual, unfettering bonds, a dreamlike pedigree, divine woman, burning into the sun as blue-orange flames leap out of her womb onto the carpet and back into the trees, the stars burning brightly now as the whole earth becomes one solid white-lighted bonfire with music spinning around it and a dance made of bird-headed men and women flapping their wings in semicircles and somersaults up and down until they have reached into the sky and brought the whole fucking crescent moon down onto the ground with a loud looming boom, darkening the night light, and again resurging the fire within burning atmosphere and forests, creating the vapid vapor of black horse singulaire all throughout the cabin, fading and the individual's divides gating. Then she shuts her eyelids and for the first time falls asleep, her eyes still wide.